In today's digital world, we are connected to thousands of people with just a click. Social media overflows with endless lists of friends. But here's a question. How many of those connections truly matter? Does having more friends equate to deeper bonds, or are we confusing quantity with quality? And for those with fewer friends, are they missing out, or are they savoring something far more meaningful? I once knew a man who had only 2 close friends. At first glance, it seemed like he was lonely. They didn't meet often, but when they did, their conversations were deep, filled with trust and sincerity. Watching him, I realized he wasn't lonely at all. He had something most people crave, a friendship rooted in understanding and mutual respect. It made me rethink what true friendship means. This video will explore what it means to have fewer friends in a world that values numbers over depth. Through the lens of Stoic wisdom, we'll uncover why relationships built on trust and shared values can transform your life. We'll also tackle common struggles like shyness, trust issues, and shifting priorities, and share practical steps to nurture meaningful connections. Before we dive in, take a moment to reflect. What does friendship mean to you? Share your thoughts and stories in the comments. Your experiences inspire someone searching for their authentic connections. Stay tuned, and let's rediscover the power of true friendship together. 1. Different lifestyles and interests. Friendship is not about numbers, it's about depth. Many of us equate having a small circle with isolation, but Stoicism reminds us that quantity means little without quality. True friendships aren't measured by how many people surround you, but by the sincerity and understanding within those connections. Even if you have only 1 or 2 close friends, their presence can add immense meaning to your life. Consider this. When we focus on surface-level similarities, like hobbies or shared activities, we often miss the opportunity to connect on a deeper level. A preference for hiking or reading doesn't define a person. What truly matters is whether they embody values like respect, kindness, and authenticity. These values are the bedrock of lasting connections. When people with shared interests meet, the spark of commonality often makes initial connections easy. Conversations flow and bonds form effortlessly. But Stoicism asks us to dig deeper. True strength in friendship lies not in how quickly it starts, but in its foundation. Shared values, honesty, loyalty, understanding, create relationships that endure beyond superficial commonalities. Even when interests differ, shared values act as a bridge. A hiker can connect with an art lover if both value openness and mutual respect. Their interests become opportunities to learn and grow, enriching the friendship rather than limiting it. Stoicism teaches us to look beyond differences and appreciate the underlying humanity that binds us. I once knew a man with only 2 close friends, and you'd think they had little in common. As I mentioned earlier, one loved the outdoors, spending weekends hiking and exploring nature. The other was a bookworm, attending art exhibitions and soaking in quiet intellectual moments. Yet, every weekend, the 3 of them would gather. They'd sit down over a beer, watch football, and share their thoughts, struggles, and laughter. What made their friendship so remarkable wasn't shared hobbies, but mutual respect and understanding. They didn't need to love the same activities to value each other's perspectives. The hiker learned about art's emotional depth. The bookworm found joy in tales of mountain trails. These differences became a way to expand their horizons, not divide them. Stoicism resonates here. It reminds us that our focus should be on what we can control, our actions, attitudes, and how we approach relationships. Instead of seeking someone identical to us, we should nurture connections built on trust, loyalty, and shared virtues. This mindset frees us from the expectation that friends must mirror our interests, and instead helps us appreciate the rich diversity they bring into our lives. A friendship rooted in shared values endures life's challenges. It remains steady amidst changing circumstances because it's not tied to fleeting similarities, but to enduring principles. By embracing this Stoic perspective, we open ourselves to a world of meaningful relationships that go beyond appearances, creating bonds that truly last. So think about those around you. The ones who share your values, even if their interests differ wildly from your own, might just be the most enriching companions. It's not about finding your clone, but about discovering the unique ways others complement your life and help you grow. That's the heart of a Stoic friendship: authentic, enduring, and deeply human. 2. Trust issues in friendships. Trust is a delicate thread that holds friendships together, but it is also one of the hardest to weave after it has been broken. For many, past betrayals or disappointments become walls, making it difficult to open up or welcome new connections. A negative experience, like being let down by someone you once called a close friend, can leave scars that make trust feel like an impossible leap. Building trust takes time and patience, beginning not with the other person, but with yourself. Understanding what you value in a relationship is the foundation. When you know what you seek, whether it's honesty, loyalty, or respect, you create a compass to guide you through the often uncertain landscape of friendships. With this clarity, you can observe, evaluate, and gradually allow trust to grow without rushing or forcing it. Stoicism emphasizes the importance of aligning expectations with reality. People are imperfect, and so are friendships. No matter how much someone values you, mistakes and misunderstandings will happen. By accepting this, you can approach relationships with realistic expectations, rather than letting fear or idealism dictate your actions. This mindset protects you from the emotional turbulence of shattered expectations while allowing space for understanding and forgiveness. I once knew a man who faced a betrayal that shook him deeply. His closest friend, someone he had trusted implicitly, broke that bond in a way that left him questioning the very idea of friendship. For years after, he struggled to let anyone get close. The risk of being hurt again loomed over every potential connection. But over time, he began to see trust not as something to give unconditionally, but as something to build gradually. He learned to take small steps, observing actions rather than words. One of his favorite insights was that trust isn't a gift handed out blindly. It's a mutual effort, a process of consistent behavior proving reliability over time. The Stoics teach us that what matters most is our response to the uncontrollable. Betrayal or disappointment is beyond our control, but how we process it and choose to move forward is within our power. This man started to approach friendships with a calm and measured heart, no longer seeking perfection in others, but appreciating the shared humanity in their flaws. One of the most liberating ideas in Stoicism is the concept of emotional resilience. It isn't about shutting yourself off from others, but about cultivating strength within. Even if trust is broken again, you are not broken. You learn, adapt, and grow stronger. Trust issues, once a heavy burden, become an opportunity to refine your expectations and boundaries. In the end, trust is not about ensuring certainty in others, but about finding certainty in yourself. When you trust your ability to handle disappointment, to forgive when appropriate, and to walk away when necessary, you no longer fear vulnerability. It becomes a conscious choice rather than a gamble. So if you find yourself hesitating to trust someone, remember this: it's okay to take your time. Watch how they treat others, how they react in challenging situations, and whether their actions align with their words. Trust doesn't have to be immediate. It's a gradual process, like a flame that grows stronger with every gust of consistency and respect. Friendships built on trust are not without their flaws, but they have the strength to weather storms. Stoicism reminds us that life, with all its unpredictability, is made richer by the connections we choose to nurture. Let trust grow at its own pace, and you'll find that even after betrayal, true connections are still possible, stronger, and more enduring than before. 3. Shyness and introversion as strengths. Shyness and introversion often carry a stigma, as if being reserved makes someone less capable of forming meaningful relationships. But what if the opposite were true? Introverts are often the quiet observers of life, noticing nuances others miss. They possess a depth of thought and a unique perspective that can make their connections profoundly meaningful. While they may not have a large circle of acquaintances, the relationships they do nurture are often deep, lasting, and built on trust. Introverts value quality over quantity, which aligns closely with Stoic teachings. Stoicism urges us to focus on what truly matters and avoid being consumed by the trivial or superficial. For an introvert, this often means investing their time and energy in fewer but more authentic friendships. Building such relationships takes time, patience, and a willingness to connect on a meaningful level. This slow but deliberate approach often results in bonds that are far more resilient than fleeting social interactions. My neighbor, a 38-year-old writer, exemplifies this. An introvert at heart, he avoids loud parties and crowded events, preferring the calm of his home or a quiet cafe. He doesn't crave a large social network. Instead, he spends his time cultivating meaningful connections with a handful of close friends who truly understand and value him. He told me once how he approached friendships with the same care he put into his writing. He didn't rush into relationships or try to fit in with a crowd. Instead, he focused on sincere conversations during one-on-one meetings, listening deeply and sharing thoughtfully. Through this, he found people who shared his values and gradually built trust with them. Over time, those friendships became as steady as the pages of a well-written book, unrushed, intentional, and enduring. Stoicism emphasizes the importance of self-acceptance, and my neighbor embodied this principle fully. He realized that he didn't need to change himself to meet societal expectations or to fit into large social gatherings. Instead, he embraced his nature and made connections in ways that aligned with his authentic self. This quiet confidence became his strength, attracting like-minded individuals who valued depth and sincerity. When we adopt a Stoic mindset, we see that building meaningful relationships isn't about forcing ourselves into situations that feel unnatural. It's about focusing on what we can control, our actions, and how we approach others. Stoicism teaches us to act with integrity, patience, and purpose, all of which are foundational in forging deep connections. Introversion is often seen as a barrier, but it can also be a quiet power. By observing, reflecting, and prioritizing meaningful interactions, introverts bring a level of thoughtfulness to their relationships that many find refreshing. They remind us that it's not the number of people we know, but the depth of our connections that truly matters. So if you're someone who feels overwhelmed by the idea of making friends or navigating social settings, take heart. Your reserved nature isn't a flaw, it's a strength. Focus on nurturing one connection at a time, being patient and authentic. Whether it's through a thoughtful conversation over coffee or a shared moment of understanding, these small steps will eventually build relationships that are grounded in mutual respect and shared values. Stoicism calls us to embrace our nature while striving for self-improvement. And that's exactly what introverts do when they invest in relationships. The true connection doesn't require loud gatherings or a sea of acquaintances. It's found in the quiet moments of understanding between two people who genuinely value each other's company. In the end, those moments are what make life meaningful. 4. Changing priorities and growth. Life has a way of rearranging our priorities. Major milestones like marriage, children, career changes, or even unexpected challenges often shift the time and energy we once dedicated to friendships. It's not that the bonds become less meaningful, but the rhythm of life changes, leaving less room for the connections we once nurtured so easily. Friendships, like any relationship, go through seasons of closeness and distance, and understanding this natural ebb and flow is key to preserving them. One of my closest friends went through such a shift recently. After a divorce, he found himself facing the overwhelming responsibilities of raising his children and stabilizing his life. Where we once met regularly for long conversations and shared meals, his time and focus were now pulled toward being both a father and a provider. Our friendship didn't end, but it adapted to the new priorities in his life. Stoicism offers a profound perspective on this. It reminds us that while we can't control the changing circumstances of life, we can control how we respond to them. Friendships, when rooted in shared values and mutual respect, can endure these changes if we approach them with patience and understanding. Staying connected doesn't always require grand gestures. It can be as simple as a quick message, a call, or showing up when it matters most. This isn't unique to my friend's story. Imagine a person whose career demands have escalated, requiring late hours and constant travel. Their ability to maintain the same social life dwindles as they navigate professional growth. Similarly, Think of someone starting a family. Their world becomes consumed by the needs of a newborn, leaving little energy for anything else. These scenarios illustrate how life's shifts challenge even the closest of bonds, but they also show how resilience and adaptability can keep those connections alive. Stoic philosophy emphasizes the importance of accepting the impermanence of all things. Relationships change, but this doesn't diminish their value. By focusing on the quality of our interactions rather than their frequency, we ensure that even in limited time, the moments we share are meaningful. It's not about counting the times you meet, but cherishing the understanding that exists when you do. When life redirects your focus, it's easy to feel guilt or frustration about not being as present as you once were. Stoicism teaches us to let go of these feelings and instead take thoughtful action. If you can only meet a friend once a month, make that time count. Be present, listen deeply, and express gratitude for the connection you still share. These small acts ensure that relationships remain resilient, even in times of distance. Friendships, like rivers, are not static. They twist and turn, sometimes flowing closer, other times carving separate paths. But when anchored by shared values and mutual understanding, they find ways to reconnect. My friend and I still talk, though less frequently. When we do, it's with a depth that acknowledges the changes in our lives while cherishing the bond that remains. Life's shifting priorities aren't a threat to relationships, but an opportunity to strengthen them. By understanding and embracing these changes, we honor not only our friends but the natural evolution of life itself. Stoicism reminds us to focus on what is within our control, how we nurture the connections that matter most. So, if you find your friendships challenged by the demands of life, remember this: the depth of a relationship is not measured by how often you see someone, but by how present and authentic you are when you do. It's this presence, anchored in understanding and acceptance, that ensures friendships endure through all of life's seasons. 5. Mental well-being and friendship. Mental well-being is the foundation of all meaningful connections. When you feel calm and centered, your openness and warmth naturally attract others. But when mental health falters, whether from stress, anxiety, or other challenges, it becomes harder to engage with the world. People often retreat into themselves, avoiding social activities, and the longer this cycle persists, the deeper the sense of isolation grows. Good mental health fosters the clarity and emotional balance necessary for genuine relationships. When you're at peace within, you approach others with patience and empathy, building trust and connection more effortlessly. On the other hand, when mental well-being is neglected, frustration, irritability, and self-doubt can push people away, even unintentionally. The energy we bring into our relationships directly influences their depth and quality. A close friend of mine experienced this firsthand. After a prolonged period of workplace stress, he withdrew from his social circle, feeling too overwhelmed to meet even his closest friends. Weeks turned into months, and the isolation began to weigh heavily on him. Realizing this, he turned to mindfulness practices and daily reflection to regain his balance. By taking small steps, journaling, meditating, and reconnecting with his emotions, he slowly found his way back to his friends. His efforts not only improved his mental state but also deepened his relationships, as his friends appreciated his vulnerability and willingness to re-engage. This idea isn't limited to personal anecdotes. Imagine someone who prioritizes their mental health by exercising, meditating, and practicing gratitude. Their positive outlook and emotional stability make them approachable and reliable. They become the kind of person others feel safe opening up to, and their connections thrive. Contrast this with someone struggling with depression or unchecked anxiety. The weight of their internal battles often leads them to avoid others, reinforcing feelings of loneliness and disconnection. Both scenarios highlight how inner well-being profoundly shapes our external relationships. Stoicism offers timeless wisdom on this matter. It teaches us to focus on what we can control: our thoughts, emotions, and reactions. When faced with stress or anxiety, instead of allowing these feelings to dominate, Stoicism encourages us to observe them without judgment, to understand them, and to respond with deliberate calm. This practice helps build resilience, which not only strengthens us individually, but also improves our capacity to connect with others. At its core, Stoicism emphasizes tranquility as a cornerstone of life. Tranquility isn't about avoiding challenges or seeking a problem-free existence. It's about cultivating a steady mind amid life's inevitable storms. This inner calm acts as an anchor in relationships, creating a sense of stability that draws people in. When you're grounded, you become a source of comfort and inspiration to those around you. If you're facing challenges with your mental well-being, know that small, intentional actions can make a big difference. Start by carving out a few minutes each day for mindfulness or reflection. Focus on your breathing, acknowledge your thoughts without letting them control you, and practice gratitude for the relationships you already have. These simple steps reduce stress and open the door to deeper connections. Relationships are not built in isolation. They require presence, emotional availability, and the courage to show vulnerability. When we prioritize our mental health, we equip ourselves with the tools to nurture these qualities. Stoicism reminds us that inner peace isn't a destination, but an ongoing practice. A practice that enriches not only our own lives, but also the lives of those we hold dear. So take a moment to reflect on your mental well-being. Are you creating a space for genuine connection, or are internal struggles holding you back? By fostering calm and clarity within, you not only improve your own life, but also sow the seeds for friendships that are enduring, meaningful, and deeply fulfilling. 6. Lack of social opportunities. In today's fast-paced world, it's easy to feel isolated, even when surrounded by people. For many, the challenge isn't a lack of desire for connection, but a lack of social opportunities. Between work, family, and personal obligations, time slips away, leaving little space to nurture friendships. Some people wait for the right moment or for opportunities to find them, but this often leads to stagnation and frustration. Meaningful relationships don't form by chance. They require intention and effort. Instead of waiting for connections to come to you, take the first step by creating opportunities. Joining a community group, a club, or even a local class centered around your interests can open doors to like-minded individuals. Shared activities create an environment where connections form naturally, making the process of meeting new people less intimidating and more enjoyable. I know this from experience. For years, I was buried in work, convinced that my career left no time for friendships. But one day, I stumbled upon a local club dedicated to stamp collecting, a childhood hobby I'd long neglected. I decided to attend a meeting. At first, I was hesitant, unsure of what to expect. But over time, those weekly gatherings became a highlight of my life. I met people who shared my passion and formed friendships built on shared interests and mutual respect. That small step of joining a club transformed my social world. Opportunities can also arise in unexpected places. Picture a neighborhood cleanup event where strangers come together to improve their community. Or imagine a person attending a workshop on a hobby they've always wanted to try: cooking, photography, or gardening. Both scenarios demonstrate how engaging in activities based on genuine interests fosters authentic connections. When you participate in something meaningful, you attract others who value the same things, creating a natural foundation for relationships. Stoicism reminds us to focus on what we can control. You can't control when or where friendships will blossom, but you can control your willingness to engage with the world. By actively seeking out opportunities, you align your actions with your desire for connection. This approach shifts the focus from passive longing to intentional action, making you a participant in shaping your social landscape. Living simply and practicing gratitude also play crucial roles in forming meaningful relationships. When you value small moments, like a shared laugh or a thoughtful gesture, you deepen your appreciation for others. Stoicism teaches us that life's true richness lies not in grand gestures, but in the sincerity of our interactions. Relationships built on simplicity and authenticity are far more enduring than those formed through fleeting or superficial exchanges. Taking that first step into a new social environment might feel uncomfortable, but it's also empowering. The effort you put into finding opportunities and connecting with others reflects your commitment to living a life aligned with your values. Whether it's joining a club, volunteering, or attending a class, Each action brings you closer to the friendships you seek. By engaging in the world with intention and openness, you discover not only new connections, but also a deeper sense of self. As Stoics remind us, growth often begins where discomfort resides. Embrace the challenge of creating your own opportunities, and you'll find that meaningful friendships often follow naturally. The small steps you take today could lead to the most fulfilling relationships of your life. 7. Improving social skills. For those who feel their social circle is too small, the root cause often lies in their ability or perceived inability to connect with others. Social skills are not innate talents bestowed on a lucky few. They are learned, practiced, and refined over time. People who struggle to make friends often believe they lack the charisma or conversational ease that others possess, but this belief overlooks the fundamental truth. Meaningful connections don't require perfection, just authenticity and effort. Building these skills starts with manageable actions. Begin small. A friendly smile, a genuine compliment, or a thoughtful question can open doors to connection. Engaging in a conversation doesn't mean dominating it. It means showing genuine interest in others. Active listening, where you truly hear and reflect on what someone says, creates a bridge of trust and understanding. Stoicism supports this approach by encouraging us to focus on what we can control, our actions and attitude, rather than becoming consumed by how others might perceive us. Reflecting on my own experience, I recall how joining a stamp collecting club transformed my perspective on social interaction. Initially, I hesitated, unsure if I'd fit in or have anything meaningful to contribute, but I approached each meeting with an open mind, listening more than I spoke, and asking questions about others' collections. Over time, those small actions built rapport and trust. The relationships that developed weren't forced. They grew naturally from shared moments of curiosity and understanding. Social skills thrive on practice and patience. Imagine someone who joins a local book club, nervous but determined. They start by contributing small comments about a story they love. Over time, as they observe and engage with the group, their confidence grows, and they form connections with like-minded readers. Similarly, think of a parent attending their child's school events. They begin with brief conversations with other parents, building a sense of community through consistent, small interactions. Stoicism teaches us to embrace such gradual growth without fear of rejection or failure. Every attempt to connect, whether it leads to a lasting friendship or not, is a step forward in personal development. Not every conversation will result in a deep bond, but each one strengthens your ability to navigate social dynamics with grace and resilience. The focus isn't on the outcome, but on the effort, the presence, and the willingness to try. True social skill doesn't lie in being the loudest voice or the most entertaining storyteller. It lies in creating a space where others feel seen and valued. Ask thoughtful questions, not just to keep the conversation going, but to understand the other person better. When you show genuine interest, you not only make the other person feel heard, but also open the door to deeper, more meaningful exchanges. Stoic philosophy reminds us that vulnerability is not a weakness, but a strength. Allowing yourself to be open in conversations, admitting what you don't know, or sharing a personal insight, invites others to do the same. It's in these moments of mutual openness that trust forms and relationships deepen. Improving social skills is a journey, not a destination. Each interaction, no matter how small, contributes to your growth. Whether it's joining a hobby club, attending a networking event, or simply chatting with a neighbor, every effort adds to your ability to connect meaningfully. As you practice, you'll find that the barriers of self-doubt or hesitation begin to fall away, replaced by a quiet confidence in your ability to relate to others. Friendships are cultivated through consistent, sincere actions. Stoicism reminds us to focus on what we can give to relationships, our presence, our interest, our authenticity, rather than what we hope to gain. When we approach social interactions with this mindset, we not only build our skills, but also create connections that reflect the best of who we are. Friendship is one of life's most meaningful pursuits, yet it often feels elusive. Through Stoic principles, we've explored how shared values, trust, mental well-being, and the courage to engage in the world around us create the foundation for meaningful relationships. These lessons remind us that building connections is not about perfection or numbers. It's about authenticity, patience, and intentionality. Start small. Whether it's practicing mindfulness to center yourself, reaching out to an old friend, or joining a group that shares your interests, each step moves you closer to the relationships you seek. Embrace the process without rushing it, trusting that meaningful connections are built over time through sincerity and effort. Stoicism teaches us to focus on what is within our control, the way we approach others, how we communicate, and the values we live by. Incorporate these principles into your daily life. Practice listening actively, showing gratitude for the connections you already have, and seeking opportunities to engage with others in ways that align with your passions and values. Over time, you'll discover that the friendships you form are not only fulfilling, but also deeply resonant with the person you are striving to become. I encourage you to reflect on your own experiences and share your stories in the comments below. What has helped you overcome challenges in building or maintaining friendships? Your insights may inspire others to navigate the same path. Every day is an opportunity to grow, to connect, and to create the life you want. Let the wisdom of Stoicism guide you as you nurture your relationships, bringing depth, understanding, and a sense of purpose to your connections. Start today and watch how even the smallest steps can lead to the most profound changes.